Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, inter-island travel to resume Wednesday. A mother of 7 dies days after giving birth. Her family speaks out. Plus, a Grand Bahama brewery bouncing back 1 year after Dorian.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thank you for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. Inter-island travel is set to resume on Wednesday. Prime Minister Dr. Hubin Minnis making the announcement during a press conference from Grand Bahama this afternoon, where he outlined a few changes for several family islands and New Providence.
Inter-island commercial air travel may resume as normal as of this Wednesday, the 9th of September.
COVID-19 test results no longer required for inter-island travel except for those traveling from New Providence. Prime Minister Minnis says when inter-island commercial air travel resumes Wednesday, those traveling from other islands can do so freely. Exemptions from quarantine may be requested and given. But Minnis said this protocol is subject to change.
To be clear, if individuals travel to New Providence and seek to return to any other island, they will be required to obtain a COVID-19 RT-PCR negative test and the 14-day quarantine.
During his press conference from Grand Bahama, where several cabinet ministers were in attendance, Minnis explained a few amendments to emergency orders, which spoke to things like outdoor exercise and the beach.
Will now be able to exercise outdoors in their neighborhoods from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. and this includes New Providence.
Residents on all islands, including New Providence, can now take part in outdoor group exercise and take a dip on the beach from 5 a.m. to noon. There were, however, some amendments announced for islands on the second schedule, which do not include New Providence. They can now enjoy the liberties of indoor dining and shopping. In addition, they can also have social gatherings with up to 10 people.
Restaurants will be able to offer indoor dining services provided they follow the physical distancing, mask wearing, and sanitization protocols in the order. Fish fry establishments will continue with takeaway and curbside services only.
Businesses like gyms, spas, bars, and casinos remain prohibited as they are deemed high risk. While on the topic, Minnis stressed that there are many still engaging in high-risk activities like parties. He also mentioned that the construction industry has become a breeding ground for COVID-19, which prompted an increase in penalties for any potential breaches.
On a second infraction, the fine will be doubled. On the third infraction, the construction project may be closed.
Well, the full reopening of the tourism industry is slated for November, according to Minister of Tourism Dionisio de Aguilar, who revealed today that the country is currently in phase 2 of the 4-phase plan. Jasmine Brown has more.
The tourism minister laid out the 4-phase plan during a press conference during his tourism report around midday on Monday. De Aguilar stressed the importance of getting it right the second time around.
We cannot afford to open and then close right back down again. That was too traumatic for the tourism sector and significantly impacted our relationship with our travel partners. We need a period of calm, a period of certainty, and a period for those in the tourism sector to methodically plan the measured reopening of their businesses. Of utmost importance will be adherence to health and safety protocols for our communities.
Phase 3 of the tourism reopening plan will begin on October 15th with full beach access on all islands, the reopening of major hotels, and access to all amenities and water taxis permitted to operate. On November 1st, it is expected that attractions, tours, and excursions will resume. However, it remains unclear when Phase 4, which allows vendors, jet ski operators, casinos, cruises, and ferries to resume operations, will begin. But the minister did reveal that major hotels can open in October.
It is important that Bahamians temper their expectations of what they expect their tourism product to look like in the short, medium term. Our recommendation to the government will be the implementation of a 15th of October 2020 reopening for hotels on all islands to resume full operations and the full use of the beach.
D'Aguilar's comments came while he noted there was a 56% decrease year over year in tourism numbers in the first 6 months of 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The tourism minister said tourists will be required to obtain a travel health visa, which requires visitors to have tested negative for COVID-19 within 5 days of travel to the Bahamas. He explained that upon arrival, visitors will have to quarantine or vacation in place for either 14 days or the length of their trip, whichever is shorter.
Instead of designating the act of remaining on a hotel property as quarantining, we are instead referring to it as vacationing in place. The two procedures are exactly the same, and the VIP experience remains governed extensively by the protocols outlined in the emergency orders and the Tourism Readiness and Recovery Plan.
D'Aguilar added that early indicators show that airlines are eager to resume flights to the Bahamas. However, he said the cruise industry is unlikely to pick back up until late November or even December. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
All right, thanks, Jasmine. The family of a woman who died at PMH days after giving birth is looking for answers. Jared Higgs has a story.
Everybody loved her. Everybody.
Family members tell Our News that 37-year-old Zenreen Ramdas died just days after giving birth at PMH. The mother of 7 gave birth on Friday, August 28th, and was discharged from the hospital on August 29th, but her baby stayed behind due to jaundice. The woman's mother, 58-year-old Veronica Ramdas, says her daughter's condition worsened a few days later.
I went over there on Wednesday morning, and she didn't look good.
Eventually, it became clear that Ramdas was seriously ill.
Her eyes was like turning over white.
She was readmitted to hospital on September 2nd. It would be the last day she spoke to her mother.
And her last word was to me, she said, I tired.
Ramdas would die 2 days later on September 4th. The woman's family says she took 2 COVID-19 tests and both were negative. They believe she died from an infection, but are still waiting for answers.
Other doctors said that she had was a bad infection, which rushed through and shut down all her organs.
Ramdas's death comes as the country's burdened health system struggles to cope with the demand for care brought on by a huge surge of COVID-19 cases in the country. Ramdas herself was all too aware of the risks, especially to pregnant mothers. She shared an Our News story about a 20-year-old who died from COVID-19 just days before her own death. The Facebook post was shared with a broken heart caption.
I really just want to know what really happened.
The older Ramdas described her daughter as a loving woman who had a close relationship with her children. She says she was loved by her co-workers at Central Food Fair, not far from where she lived. A family friend described Ramdas as a woman who was trying her best despite her own challenges. And while her mother wants answers, she's still grateful to the doctors and nurses at PMH.
I'm not going to make no accusation or nothing. I'm not going to knock the doctors, the nurses, and I'm not going to knock nobody who work in the industry. Nobody I'm not going to knock. All I want to know, please, let me know what really happened. Because these kids can ask me how my mommy died. And I really like to know the truth on how she died.
The woman's doctor says an autopsy will be performed to determine her exact cause of death. A third COVID-19 test also on schedule. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
A 15-year-old boy of Low Sound Andrews was charged with the armed robbery of a beauty supply store. It is alleged that on August 28th, armed with a 9mm pistol, he robbed Melanie Colebrook of $80 and stole 3 phones worth $90 each. Kirk Evans in the red jacket was charged with abetment in that matter. They were not required to enter a plea. Montel Campbell in the green shirt, also of Andrews, was charged with possession of an unlicensed firearm. It is alleged that on September 1st, he was found in possession of a 9mm pistol. The magistrate said the pistol is alleged to have been involved in other matters, including the robbery. Campbell pleaded not guilty. They were remanded until November 3rd. Meanwhile, a 16- and a 15-year-old were charged with robbing Jaheem Poitier of $500 and a Samsung phone. The matter will be heard in the juvenile court on November 3rd. The pair will wait it out at Simpson Pen. In other news, dozens of former Amelia employees protested outside the gates of Workers' House this morning. Here's Bethany McDermott.
Tensions ran high at the gates of Workers' House this morning as a group of former Malaya Nassau Beach employees showed up seeking answers from the union's president. However, protesters didn't get far as police officers prevented them from entering.
Now, these members say they've been paying dues to the union for years, and as a result, they're calling on the union to assist them during these difficult times.
Every week they take $10. So if you ain't want to give me nothing, give me every $10 I had in there. Everyone. And before they took the $10 to $9 they used to take. I want that.
We haven't received anything. They have done nothing for us. Nothing. You know, and it is bad to know that you can pay your dues, and when you come to the union for assistance, they turn you away and tell you that they cannot do nothing for you.
The former hotel workers also say they've yet to receive payment from the National Insurance Board. We asked the workers how they made ends meet with no income.
I depend on the Lord. I depend on the Lord.
I'm a nice person, so I help people. So it's coming back to me now. So it isn't as bad as, like I said, I'm not in a bad, dire situation like a lot of other people, because I got help and I got family.
I'm married. I have a husband and thank God for him. But come on, only so much he could do. He get paid by monthly. 2 heads is better than one. You understand me? We was doing this for years. So why? No, man, this is not right. I can't afford to put all that string on it. It wouldn't be right.
When pressed on the matter, Union President Darren Wood says the workers were stopped at the gate because the office has been closed since March. To the point that the members did not receive their NIB payments, Wood said he reached out to NIB and got this explanation.
What they said to us was there's different times in terms of where it goes. If it goes to, let's say, Island Pay, there's a certain amount of time you have to wait in order to be able to access the funds. If it goes to your bank account, there's a certain amount, and if it's a check, there's a certain amount of time.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
More news on the way, but here's a first look at weather with meteorologist Greg Thompson. Good night, Greg.
Thanks, Kyle. I'm meteorologist Greg Thompson with your first look at weather. Outside our studios, we have quite a bit of clouds, cloudy conditions, with a temperature of 82 degrees. Your winds are out of the east-southeast at 5 knots, feels like temperature around 87 degrees Fahrenheit. On our satellite, we have a lot of clouds out there, a lot of moisture pumping across the islands, generating quite a bit of cloudy conditions, showers and thunderstorms occurring across most of the islands. That will continue tonight through the morning hours. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come, a Grand Bahama nurse shares her battle with COVID-19. Stay tuned.
Rev up in the next promotion? Okay. Nice.
Bye. You give up it.
Best 2 out of 3.
Sign up for Rev Trio and opt in to NBA League Pass absolutely free. Visit rev.bs or call 601-8992 for details. Rev, you and us, together.
You're watching Our News. Welcome back. A nurse who battled coronavirus at the peak of the second wave in Grand Bahama recalls a time when she thought she wouldn't survive. Georgia Bain has her story.
I had no energy, so I had made up in my mind that, hey, I'm going to die.
Those were the chilling thoughts of Nurse Tradicia Wilchcombe as she battled COVID-19. As she was nearing the end of her shift in the emergency department of Rand Memorial Hospital one day, body aches and a sore throat alerted her that something wasn't right. According to the registered nurse, as the night went on, the symptoms got worse.
It just continued to progress, and then I started to have lightheadedness and weakness, and I was like, okay, something definitely isn't right at this point.
Wilchcombe's symptoms were determined to be mild, and she was sent home for 5 days to monitor what was diagnosed as influenza. However, in those 5 days, things progressively got worse.
My body felt as if I had Mark trucks on top of me. I started hallucinating, hearing things, seeing things. I lost my sense of smell. I didn't lose my taste, but I might as well had, because it was like my mouth was on fire, like I was showing fire.
Soon after her symptoms intensified, Wilchcombe got a second opinion on her illness. It was then that she was tested for the coronavirus, and 3 days later, she received a call saying that her test was positive.
She said to me, well, you have to go into a quarantine facility. And that's when the fear kicked in. That's when the anxiety started, and I just lost it completely. Everything in me came crashing down at that point, because that's when I actually got scared. At that point, I was scared.
Scared because although she had self-isolated from the beginning of her sickness, she feared that she may have infected her family or her child. Wilchcomb recalled a time in her sickness when she thought she wouldn't make it.
During the worst part of the symptoms, I honestly felt like I would not have made it when they were at their worst, because your body just was my body just felt like it didn't have it in it. I didn't have it in myself to continue, between the pain and the weakness and the fact that at that point I hadn't eaten anything solid for about 2 weeks. Couldn't tolerate water. So you had no energy. So I had made up in my mind that, hey, I'm going to die.
The registered nurse encourages all battling the coronavirus not to give up, but stated that as a nurse, her greatest fear is that she will catch the potentially deadly disease again. Reporting for Our News, I'm Georgie O'Bain.
The Ministry of Tourism is strongly recommending that all hotel staff be tested prior to returning to work and continue to be tested on an as-need basis. Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar says the recommendation comes after extensive consultation with officials from public health, the competent authority, and the hotel industry. De Aguilar said as visitors will be tested prior to their arrival, it only makes sense that hotel staffers are tested to ensure the ministry's vacation-in-place policy is effective.
I would think that it would be in the best interest of the business, obviously, to test your staff as regularly as you see fit. The government isn't taking on that liability, no. We're going to encourage, and actually the hotels were the ones that came to us and said, look, we want to do this. How can we best do this? So they obviously thought that PCR testing was the only option. And really, no, you as any business in the Bahamas can use whatever testing that you see fit for your staff.
Well, a major cleanup was staged in East Grand Bahama over the weekend to help remove vehicles that were toppled and tossed in the water during Hurricane Dorian. With more on this, here's Jillian Gray.
It's been a year since Monster Storm Dorian ravaged Abaco and Grand Bahama, and as residents struggle to pick the pieces back up, the Disaster Reconstruction and Recovery Authority continues its work as well, clearing the landscape of rubble, debris, and derelict vehicles.
Dozens of cars were pulled from waters in East Grand Bahama over the weekend, a telling sign of the power and destruction of Dorian. The monster storm tossed cars and trucks like toys, many of them ending up in the water. This excavator anchored on shore takes orders from boaters in the water, guiding him to the vehicles that sank in the depths below. Flatbed trucks and dump trucks piled high with moss-ridden vehicles carted the automobiles away. Divers, heavy-duty operators, and volunteers made up the team of workers who, with the Bahamas Disaster Reconstruction Authority, staged the cleanup. Head of the authority, Kay Forbes Smith, said it's been a long road to recovery, and COVID-19 hindered the progress of their work.
It's been a long year. There are many things that we had hoped that we would address within the first 6 months of the reconstruction and the recovery efforts. But there are a lot of things, mitigating factors, that caused us to be somewhat delayed in a lot of issues, and COVID was really one of those issues.
Member of Parliament for the area, K. Peter Turnquest, also assisted in the work.
We've been agitating and waiting for these vehicles to be moved from the water, not only because of the aesthetics, but they do pose a navigational risk to the boaters that are coming in from the Keys and the ferry service from Abaco. And so this is a very good day for us. The boaters, I'm sure, will be very grateful for what is being done here today by the Disaster Recovery Authority, and we'll be able to get back to some level of safety.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
All right, thanks, Jillian. Still to come, a Bahamian brewery on Grand Bahama bouncing back. Stay tuned.
Rev up in the next promotion. Okay. Nice.
Bye. You give up it.
Best 2 out of 3.
Sign up for Rev Trio and opt in to NBA League Pass absolutely free. Visit rev.bs or call 601-8992 for details. Rev, you and us, together.
One year after Hurricane Dorian destroyed 90% of Bahamian Brewery on Grand Bahama, repairs and upgrades are still underway, but nearing completion. The company's CEO gave us an exclusive look at their progress and shared when they hope to get their Bahamian-made products back on the shelves. Production underway once again at Bahamian Brewery in Grand Bahama. Just a year ago, 90% of the factory was destroyed when Dorian rolled through, leaving 4 feet of salt water.
It's going to take some time to get things back in motion again. The brew house is completed. The bottling hall is about 75% complete. So we still have works that have to be completed.
CEO and President Jimmy Sands said it's been a task having to disassemble and reassemble, but assures customers that it will be bigger and better than before. COVID-19 brought things to a halt back in March, but work resumed in July. Sands said what made things even easier for the company over the past year was the staff, whom he says went above and beyond.
The staff they've bent over backwards to help facilitate the restoration of this brewery. It's like I've mentioned on numerous occasions, it's not a one-man band here, it's been a team effort here.
The brewery, 100% Bahamian owned and operated, is now in search of more technicians to complete the work. Walking through, you'd see welding, label pressing, and all the behind-the-scenes work that goes into the Grand Bahama-made product.
And so we all have to do our bit. And I'm doing my bit here to try to keep the people who I have employed here employed.
And with testing, brewing, and reconstruction all underway, just how long will it be until Bahamians will be able to get products like Sands and Sands Light on the shelves again?
It'll be several months before the market is saturated with the Sands and the Sands Light products. It's gonna take months to get the ball up and rolling. So we're going to concentrate on the Grand Bahama market first, naturally, because that's where the brewery is, and then it will expand to the other islands.
Still to come, a look at Jazz Chisholm's Major League milestones. That's coming up when Our News returns.
Rev up in the next promotion. Okay. Nice.
Bye. You give up it.
Best 2 out of 3.
Sign up for Rev Trio and opt in to NBA League Pass absolutely free. Visit rev.bs or call 601-8992 for details. Rev, you and us, together.
Jazz Chisholm with a couple of career milestones as his Major League Baseball career takes off. Marcellus Hall has more.
So Bahamians continue to make their mark in Major League Baseball. Jazz Chisholm once again on the field at shortstop as the Marlins took on the Rays. For Jazz, it turns out to be a very historic milestone. Bahamian Jazz Chisholm achieving another milestone in his Major League Baseball career on Sunday, starting at shortstop for the second time since being called up. Chisholm would lead off the top of the 7th inning with a single to right center field for his first Major League hit. Still in the top of the 7th, Jazz on first. He gets caught in the pickoff as he breaks for second on the steal attempt. As you can still see, he beats out the throw, but overslides the bag and is tagged out on the play. Here in the bottom of the 8th, how about this defensive gem as the youngster shows off the glove with a full extension dive and catch to rob a potential hit. He would finish the game 1 for 4. Marlins take the loss 5-4 in 10 innings. Jazz back in the lineup for the Marlins again today, this time starting at second base as the Marlins took on the Braves. Top of the second inning, Jazz another milestone as he scores his first Major League run. Marlins go on to win this game 5-4 in extra innings. Jazz 0-4. So we'll see whether or not Jazz's progress continues as he continues to get onto the field for the Marlins and the season progresses. Reporting for Our News, I'm Marcellus Hall.
And that's a look at news. We throw it back to meteorologist Greg Thompson for the extended weather forecast.
Thanks again, Kyle. I'm meteorologist Greg Thompson with your second look at weather. On our satellite, lots of moisture associated with an upper level low spinning across the area, generating cloudy conditions, as well as some showers and thunderstorms. That activity will continue tonight through tomorrow. Your boating forecast for the northwest and central Bahamas. East to southeast winds, 10 knots, seas running 1 to 3 feet over the ocean, while in the southeast Bahamas, your winds will be out of the east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, seas running 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Here's a look now at your national forecast. Now look at your extended forecast through Saturday. That's a look at your weather. Make it a great night, everyone.
Thank you for joining us for Our News tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Kyle Joaquin. Remember, you can catch Our News on the Go Rev Go Play app. But stay tuned. Our TV program Gombe Kids is up next. Have a good Monday evening, Bahamas.